Well, it's Friday, and you all know what that means. As you know, because they had to push back Ring of Honor due to AEW Collision, we decided to do that. This one featured many matches, but amongst them, as you know, the commencement for the first ever ROH Women's Pure Wrestling Champion has begun. As you know, there's going to be a tournament taking place real soon. However, we're getting a bit of a preview on that, so we have, of course, a match featuring Queen Aminata in action taking on Allison Kay. And of course, we do have Lucha Libre style in our main event. And then we move on with TNA with Under Siege featuring many matches. Of course, we have the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Belt. As you know, Spitfire gets another opportunity, but if they failed, they have no other choice but to disband. We even have the Knockouts World title as well taking place, and various other things. But the main event features a bit of a preview that will lead to, of course, NXT Battleground. Trick Williams will team up with Frankie Kazarian to take on Joe Hendry and, of course, Elijah. So that's going to be a fun one. And, of course, the tag team belts are also on the line. So we're going to go from A to Z on this one. And then, of course, as always, we will cap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, when matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. It's time to get cracking. So let's begin, of course, with our first review, and this is, of course, Ring of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor. Now, it opened up with Athena addressing the fan base, according to her minions, might add, talking about Billy Starkz at home recently because, as you know, Billy Starkz won the tournament to become the inaugural ROH Women's World Television Champion. And now she's determined to have her to do it again, but this time she had to do a lot of studying to learn about, like, catch, cat, attach, whatever, all those technical wrestling techniques. So she is in that position where she wants her to ensure that belt goes to, of course, MIT. But, however, she is still a bit pissed off that she did not win, of course, the Owen Hart, did not go all the way to the Owen Hart Cup tournament. That pretty much would explain a few things. So we'll see how things will roll up for her for that. Now, our first initial match, we have, of course, the Problem and member of the Death Riders, Marina Shafir, taking on Lainey Luck. Now, of course, many of us would think just by watching this match, Marina Shafir has the advantage because the Death Riders are all about business. They don't care about, the whole glitz and glamour and all this other stuff. Well, Laney Luck, I have to say, she stood up uh, great against her, but it was not enough until, of course, Marina Shafir applied the mother's milk, and just like that, of course, Marina Shafir won by submission. Next up, we have the Base God, Gringo Loco, taking on that vanilla idiot, Blake Christian. Of course, we all know Blake Christian is a total idiot, but man, this match was incredible. I mean, a lot of high flying spots, but perfect timing. And of course, the one thing that Gringo Loco, I'm sure he had to keep an eye on, is of course that idiot Lee Johnson watching right there, being on Blake Christian's side. So that kind of sets it up right there. I mean, there were moments you would have assumed that one would pick up the other, or like using a Poison Rana or a Spanish Fly, or whatever it come across, but it did not go exactly that until Blake Christian applied his submission move, the Valena Choke Zone, and just like that, Gringo Loco had no choice but to tap out. Now our next match is a pure wrestling rules match. Now this is not part of that tournament, in case anybody asks. So basically, this is just a preview. Queen Aminata will face against Allison Kay. Many of you know Allison Kay. She's been around the block for many years. Even she's been part of Ring of Honor too. And she does have a bit of technical aspect. So that kind of sets it up in a way where Queen Aminata has to sharpen her skills. I mean, many of us would never imagine her being in this type of position, but Queen Aminata was able to learn to adapt, and this is one of those belts that she felt, I have to win this one. And of course, she was able to do so when she applied a submission onto Allison Kay, and just like that, Allison Kay had no choice but to tap out. Now, speaking of the ROH Women's Pure Wrestling Championship that will be coming out soon, it seems that Serena Deeb applied a video promo. As you know, she'll be amongst those that will be part to become the first ever inaugural champion. So it's more like in this position where Serena Deeb is set up to be in a position where she's like got nothing left to lose, that type of thing. So we'll see what happens from there, because they probably will crown the next champion for that belt. I believe that's going to be in Death Before Dishonor, or would it be Super Card of Honor, one of the two. But we'll see where that goes. But we'll stay tuned for that. Now on to our main event. We have Lucha Libre style. We have Barbaro Cavanero, Hechicero, and Volador Jr. taking on Neon, Fuego, and Atlantis Jr. So you probably can know this is going to be an awesome match, because if you're not big fans of Lucha Libre, then you guys are missing out. And you know how these high-flying spots are going to be. I mean, it's fantastic. But in the end, it was Atlantis Jr. with the infamous frog splash onto, who was it? On Barbaro Cavanero, just like that. Uno, dos, tres, se acabó. So, Atlantis, Fuego, and Neon picked up the win. So I think that's pretty much it right now with Ring of Honor. So let's move on with our last and final review, and that is, of course, TNA Under Siege. Okay, TNA Under Siege. We opened up with Mike Santana taking on the Blessed One, Casey Navarro, and of course, towing with them is AJ Francis in a clutch. I don't know why he's in the clutch, but anyway, you probably think this match was going to be very interesting. Well, it did. Mike Santana was able to pick up the win when he applied the spin the block, and just like that, he tried to show respect to Casey Navarro. But that snake of the grass, AJ Francis, decided to whack him with the clutch, even though he wasn't, injured. So I'm sure Mike Santana will get a little payback for that. So we'll see what happens from there. Now our next match, this is a very crucial one. Eddie Edwards versus Cody Deaner. If Cody Deaner does not win this match, well, he'll be out. Now, of course, when it comes to Eddie Edwards being a member of the system, they try to manipulate the system in their favor, because, of course, his main squeeze, Alicia, was right there to ensure. But things did not go according to plan because they knocked them out with the ring. It did not work. But of course, Eddie Edwards was able to walk away with the win when he applied the Boston Knee Party. And just like that, it was over. But however, the system decided to gloat the fact and call him a loser. But they forget that their Under Siege is in Toronto, because if you guys don't know, Cody Deaner is from Canada, so his Canadian brethren showed up. We're talking about the Northern Armory, Eric Young, Travis Williams, and Judas Icarus. So it became more of a US versus Canada type of thing. So basically, we jump into that match. Now, when it comes, of course, like I always say with the system in this next match against the Northern Armory, the system always tries to manipulate the system their way to pick up the win. Alicia even tries to help out, but this honey badger that's a mascot named Hammer showed up to help out. And then, of course, we did see other fellow Canadians giving a helping hand. So just like that, it was completely done. But it was Eric Young who walked away with the win when he gave, of course, Moose a spike pile driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Canadians picked up the win. Just like that. Now our next match is for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team belts in a no disqualification, no time limit draw. But the stipulation is, if Spitfire does not win this match, then they're being asked to, of course, to disband. Now, of course, this match was brutal, mayhem, whatever you want to throw in. And of course, that little chihuahua was getting the helping hand. So of course, this idiot tried to do it. I mean, Ash Heather did everything humanly possible to take them out permanently, but nothing worked. But the biggest factor came from is Maggie Lee to give Ash and Heather the helping hand. And just like that, they took out Danny Luna outside, but it was of course Jody Threat who suffered the fate when she got swanton bombed by Ash, and just like that, Spitfire was over. So basically, they're done. And of course, Ash is going to gloat about this on Thursday, and sooner or later, someone's going to have to smack the little face out of her and deal with the Chihuahua and Maggie Lee. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match, we have the Order of Four, consistent of Tasha Steelz and the Dumb Hands. You know, Jason Hotch, John Skyler, and Mustafa Ali. They take on the Rascals and Indy Hartwell. But unfortunately, they were supposed to have Ace Austin, but we all know what happened. Ace Austin was gone. They put the story that his knee injury was the cause of it. But many of you who know and saw this on my last episode on the news updates, that Ace Austin split from TNA amicably, so he was no longer out. But of course, the Rascals were determined to go the 3-on-4. But unfortunately, someone from Mustafa's past showed up, and that person is Raj Singh. Now, for those who don't remember, when Mustafa Ali first arrived in TNA, a year or two ago, he had someone to help him out with his campaign, and that person was none other than Raj Singh. So Raj Singh was saying, I tried to call you, but you never called me back. So basically, he's saying that I was the one who made sure you looked good. So basically, it was more like, hell, I'm going to kick your ass because you never call me back. And that's how the whole thing was rolling up. So it became on 4-on-4. But great moments happened. We did see, of course, where Indy Hartwell gave Tasha Steelz on top of everybody. And what was it? A cutter, and just like that, it was over. But however, Ali, who's now been a monster, decided to wipe out Indy Hartwell. He had no conscience whatsoever for what he did. And then, of course, the Good Hands took out Raj Singh with the favor. Then Mustafa Ali picked up the win with the 450. And just like that, the Order of Four picked up the win. But Mustafa decided to choke out and suffocate Raj Singh. But Tasha Steelz tried to reason with them, but he pushed her down. And of course, we don't know what's going to happen. But of course, we now are seeing that Mustafa Ali, who hated people who are monsters, well, he's becoming one himself. Sooner or later, he's going to snap. So we'll see how that goes. Now, our next match, we have Tessa Blanchard versus Ariana Grace. Now, Ariana Grace had Santino by her side, her dad, who's been supportive. But that scumbag, Mr. Stone, decided to kick her out. I mean, she needed her support, and he's a big piece of garbage. But one thing that was true about what Tom Tom, one of the commentators, was true. He's not being respected either in both Evolve or NXT, so he feels like he has to rain on someone's parade to get what he wants, and that's probably true. I mean, Ariana did everything humanly possible to take out Tessa, but of course, Tessa picked up the win with the Magnum, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 was over. And of course, Santino, who was worried about his daughter, well, Mr. Stone, being the scumbag that he is, decided, you're a loser. So he's trying to say he's in control. But sooner or later, Santino will have to gain control back of TNA where it rightfully belongs. But of course, Stone calls security to drag him out because he feels like, I got to show the run. Now, our next match, we have the TNA Knockouts World Title, Victoria Crawford versus Masha. Now, Mr. Stone, as you know, he kicked out Santino to ensure that he's not on her corner. Well, guess what? The scumbag decided, oh, the rules doesn't apply to him, so he decided to stick around to be in Victoria Crawford's corner because he thinks that Masha Slamovich is not championship. Wrong, dickhead! She has faced the toughest women, not to mention beating Jordan Grace. So he's an idiot, not to mention try to find ways to ensure that Victoria Crawford wins. But it did not work because, of course, she applied the Requiem, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Masha picked up the win. Now, during her post-match promo, Masha decided that she was going to call out her next challenger, and the challenger she chose is Li Yangling. But once again, Mr. Stone, being the piece of garbage that he is, he decided, oh, hell no, you're not picking the matches. I am. He's saying that you have to earn it. No, dude, you gave Victoria Crawford the title match, without ever earning it. So he's going out saying he's the one who calls the shots. But like I said, sooner or later, there's going to be a rebellion against him. So we'll see how that rolls up from there. Now, our next match, which is our semi-main event, is the TNA World Tag Team Belts. We have Leon Slater teaming up with one of his idols, Matt Hardy, to take on the Meneth brothers, Nick and Ryan Meneth. So as you know, Jeff Hardy could not be part of this match due to the fact that he's not allowed to go to Canada due to his past history. Well, I have to say Leon Slater was one of those guys that fit right because he grew up watching the Hardys. And you would have, probably many of you might have thought, okay, if there was a possibility, because it's no secret that Matt Hardy, as you all know, he teamed up with Jeff countless times and they won many championships together. But the one time he won a tag team belt without his brother was with the late Bray Wyatt, and he wouldn't mind doing the same thing with Leon Slater. Now, of course, things would have gone their way, but if it wasn't for certain ways for the Meneth brothers to pick up the win, let's say, try to isolate one or the other, that would have been the one thing that stopped it. So it was Nick Meneth with the Danger Zone onto Matt Hardy, and just like that, they retained the belts, and just so we moved on from there. Now, our main event, we have, of course, a bit of a preview that will lead up to an NXT Battleground this coming Sunday. Frankie Kazarian and Trick Williams taking on Elijah and Joe Hendry. So those who don't know, the TNA World Championship will be defended in a sanction match in NXT Battleground. So that kind of sets it up right there. So Joe Hendry has to face Trick Williams. I have to say the match was pretty good, but however, in the end, it was Joe Hendry with the standing ovation onto Frankie Kazarian, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Joe Hendry picked up the match. So we will see both Joe Hendry and Trick Williams at Battleground this coming Sunday. So we'll see how that rolls up from there. So I think we are officially done with our reviews. Let's move on with some news updates. Okay, so let's begin with some news updates for all of you now. Now let's begin with upcoming events. Now, as you know, we have on June 7th, House of Glory with Puerto Rican Weekend. Well, as you all know, it was announced that Tomohiro Ishii was going to be there. I mentioned that on the last episode. But, however, it was announced that he will be facing the House of Glory World Champion, Mike Santana. So I have to say, this match is going to be a baller. So it's going to be really exciting. Now, as you all know, when WWE purchased AAA, there's been talks about the upcoming worlds collide between the two promotions? Well, it's been announced a match for that particular day on June 7th, and it's going to be Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo, and Santos Escobar taking on Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Psycho Clown, and Pagano. So that's going to be interesting. Now, as Canadian promotion, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling with Resurrection in Ontario, that will take place on what was it? On July 5th. They announced the inevitable one. Ace Austin will be participating. And then finally, Prestige Wrestling with their upcoming event on July 13th. We have Combat Clash 2025. They announced for the Prestige Championship will be defended. Alan Angels will defend his title against Judas Icarus. If you guys remember, they used to be in line with each other. Sinner Saint with Alan Angels, no longer. So that pretty much what happened. Now, an interesting development for from Lucha Blog. Many of you know this. Before, of course, WWE purchased AAA, Satnam Singh appeared in AAA and it was the tag team champion there. They made a very interesting fact about Satnam Singh. As you know, no more AEW talent will be making their presence known in AAA. So apparently, it was revealed that Satnam Singh retires from AAA with the record of 4 wins and 0 losses. So basically, that's how it ends. I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting to hear that. Now, Wrestling Observer, as you know, has follow-up to what Kenny Omega said about Hikaru Shida. It is true she is currently in Japan, waiting to get her visa renewed. But it turns out that she's not the only one. So is, of course, the Golden Star himself, Kenny Omega's best friend, Kota Ibushi. So that's why the reason we haven't seen Kota in AEW. We know he was recovering, but recently he's been wrestling in Japan for some events. So he's also waiting for the arrival of his visa. So we'll see what happens. Many of you know this, may have not known this. Yuna, who is one of the Yoshi wrestlers from Sendai Girls, revealed that she has met the late Hana Kimura. As you all know, Hana Kimura passed away about almost 5 years ago, back in 2020. Well, Yuna said that he met her back in 2019 during a Stardom show, and of course, like any other wrestler, she was the main reason she learned that she wanted to be a pro wrestler from there. It's understandable. So yeah, there's that. So it's great to hear that Hana Kimura was her inspiration. Now, many of you also may question certain things when it comes to certain talent with AEW. Some of you who are big-time WWE fans would say, oh, this wrestler is making a big mistake signing with AEW. Others were saying that, oh, it's a good business. Well, Josh Alexander kind of gave his reasons why he chose to be with AEW to begin with. There was a report saying that they were going to give him a title shot for the NXT title, but he turned it down. But this is what he said. He talked about Tony Khan and why did he sign with AEW. I wasn't comfortable working somewhere where I'm just an asset. Something you could do just toss away in an instant. I wanted somebody that's going to take care of me and care the fact that I have a family that I'm feeding. And that I do have such passion for this. I got this impression that a boss, Tony Khan, is somebody that actually cares for his employees. You are not just a number and not just an asset to the company. He actually cares about you, and he's something that means a great deal. Now, some of you may think, oh, it's a load of horse crap to hear that about Tony Khan, that he cares. Many of you may not know this. Roosh said when he decided to stay with AEW, there was a real reason why he stayed. Roosh's wife gave birth to his daughter, and when he took time off to spend time with his wife and be there for his newly born daughter, Tony Khan called him and asked him, "How are you doing, man? How's your daughter?" And Roosh said that he never had a boss who actually called him and asked him how his family. Now, you can take away about him as a booker, but you cannot take away him being a human being who cares for a man's family or whatever. And I think that's why the main reasons Josh Alexander made that choice. Because thing is, WWE is the kind of company that doesn't give a damn about a wrestler's family. I mean, You think it was easy for certain wrestlers not to be around with their families before certain things were changing? No. They were always on the road like 6 days out of the 7 weeks. They only have 36 hours to be with their families. And it was tough. But with Tony Khan, it was different. Like, if someone tells him, hey, I need to be spending more time with my family. For those who did not know this, a hologram, when he was injured, he was set to come back, but the problem was his wife was also going to give birth, and he took time to be there. And I think that's one of the main reasons Tony Khan is, he may be, some people could say he's a terrible booker, but he's the kind of man who makes sure that employees are taken care of to be spending time with their families whenever a situation like this rises. But it makes perfect sense. So there's that. Now, for our last development here, Sareee recently talked about the that she wants to start winning the IWGP Women's title, but all at the Stardom conversion before facing the world champion Saya Kamitani in her tag match. But this is what she said: "After I put on the belt, when it's the real battle, that's why I can't help be interested in Kamitani, who holds the Stardom World title. Of course, I want to appear at Sareeism Chapter 8 wearing uh, that and the AAW Tag Team belt and the IWGP belt. I want to confront them both with the IWGP belt." So basically, she wants to be a multi-title belt. We've seen that already with many people, but yeah, so it makes perfect sense. So we'll see how things will roll up on that. We know that her next Sareeism show will take place in July. We know she'll be facing Shuri soon, so we'll stay tuned for that. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Okay, so hope you guys enjoy this episode. Coming up, I do know there is another New Japan event featuring more with the best of the Super Juniors. I'm not sure if they're going to continue with either just the A block matches or B block matches or just mix them up, however they go. So we'll see how that rolls. Now, I haven't decided yet what I might want to do. I am behind on certain events like Mighty Gold, Stardom, and all that. We cannot forget this coming Sunday. We do have, of course, NXT Battleground and AEW Double or Nothing. So that's going to be interesting because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people probably going back and forth on this because we have two pay-per-views around the same time. I mean, we're kind of like back on the Wednesday Night Wars, but now in the pay-per-view setting. So we'll see how that will roll up. I'm definitely going to I'm not sure if I'll be able to do both or probably just one or the other. So we'll see how that comes around. But I'm decided just to focus on the Yoshi wrestling events, the ones that I'm missing out. Some from last month, and I'm gonna work my way through that. And I might have to combine whatever's Mighty Gold into their own section, Sendai Girls in their own section, that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes from there. But stay tuned for more. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.